All right, I'm Ranger Kidwell-Ross. I'm the editor and founder of worldsweeper.com and also the executive director of the World Sweeping Association. I'd like to ask you to join with me in recognizing somebody that I know is new to the room. There are a few contractors new to the room. My assistant, Regina Wallenberg, is here for the first time, and Regina, if you would stand up and a lot of you know her and talked to her on the phone, but just don't know her by view. Okay. So for many years, I have given out for World Sweeper, and now on behalf of worldsweeper.com and the World Sweeping Association, we give out the World Sweeper was American Sweeper for a long time. Now is the worldsweeper.com and World Sweeping Association Award of Excellence in Power Sweeping. This has gone to a number of the people in the room. Some different companies, from Timco to Schwartz to Gabe Vitale, I think was first. Is that right, Gabe? Yes. But a number of people in the room have won it, and some that aren't here. And this recognizes someone who has dedicated their life and talents to the power sweeping industry. The person winning this year's World Sweeping Association Award of Excellence in Power Sweeping escaped from Hungary in 1956. He found himself a wanted man after the revolution he supported was crushed by Soviet forces. Although he initially chose to immigrate to the United States, when the U.S. immigration quota was full, he instead chose Regina, Saskatchewan, Canada, because it was in the middle of Canada and close to the U.S. where he wanted to end up. However, once he got to Canada, he never left. In many ways, our award winner has never stopped being a revolutionary. He has been designing, building, and marketing new products and starting new businesses from the time he arrived in his adopted country in 1957. Along the way, he has revolutionized at least 4 different industries. A few years after arriving in his new country, an old wrestling injury stopped him from working construction. A friend said, "Why don't you come and clean windows?" And our recipient did so, and almost immediately saw inefficiencies in the way the service was performed. Within 2 years, he started his own window cleaning company he called Rightway. Soon, Rightway was being contracted to clean windows in the tallest buildings in the city, including the legislative building, solely because of innovations in window cleaning efficiency that our winner introduced. His next business venture was rock pickers, which he began building in 1972. He designed the first rock picker that could pick up both large and small rocks at the same time because, for the first time ever in that industry, his design utilized hydraulics to increase the machine's power. Then a few years later, our award recipient, Les Hulicsko, stumbled onto another business that needed his talents. As part of his window cleaning business, he had also started doing parking lot maintenance using street sweepers to clean the lots. The problem was, some would say still is today, the machines were always breaking down. With the equipment we were using, he says, we were experiencing no end of breakdowns. The equipment was built to be used in California and not for the hard-packed dirt that we have in Saskatchewan. Hulicsko figured that there was a need for a rugged, intermediate-priced unit that would be less expensive than the largest self-contained units, which, if you can imagine, cost up to $80,000. Woo! And they were larger than the smaller sweepers that were prone to breakdowns. Hulicsko began working on the Sweep-Rite 2100 in 1976, and the first production model was completed in May of 1978. It was a trailer-type sweeper that could be pulled behind a tractor. Hulicsko's Sweep-Rite tow-behind was the first in the sweeping industry to use hydraulics in place of sprockets and chains. Now, this is potentially contested by who has the name on the tip of their tongue in here? MB? No? Okay, we'll just leave it at that.
Wayne?
Well, we'll just say that it was the first to use hydraulics. The Nighthawk folks gave me a name of someone that they thought was also first, and so we'll insert that into the written copy and edit this part out of the video. Sweep-Rite Manufacturing, as the street sweeper manufacturing company was called, was begun in 1978. Shortly afterward, Hulicsko started building self-propelled models. Les also designed a one-person pothole patcher, today called the Python 5000, which can patch a pothole in 2 minutes while the operator sits safely in an air-conditioned cab. In 2012, his company was sold to a Saskatoon, I've always loved that word, based venture capital fund and the Federal Business Development Bank of Canada. And earlier this year, the company's name was changed to Superior Roads Solutions, which continues to manufacture and market both pothole patchers and street sweepers. During his long career, our recipient has been called many things: a dreamer, an inventor, an entrepreneur, even a genius. Hulicsko himself, however, prefers to think of himself as an innovator rather than an inventor. I've seen so many inventors, he says. They could dream, but they could never really put their dreams into practice. I had dreams too, but I didn't try to sell an idea until I could build it and produce it, and therein lies the difference. Les Hulicsko retired this year at the age of 78, and on the eve of his last official day at the company, he founded more than 40 years ago. Hulicsko's final reminder to everyone was to think outside the box. Now, Les Hulicsko could not be here today, and we have someone from Superior Roads that will come and accept the award, but I have an extra little treat because we have someone that we all know is legendary in the audience, and he had an anecdote that he told me earlier, and I asked him to provide it to you all as well. And may I recognize for a moment Larry Dyke. So come and tell that story about how, and Larry told information that I didn't have about how this trailer-mounted model that Les had made it into being a chassis-mounted model.
Thank you. We met Les, I think, at one of our first trade shows when we held it in the first convention center here in Tennessee, which was the old, I think they do boxing and wrestling in there now. And he was building that 2200 trailer sweeper that you were talking about. And Leonard Bella, who was a partner of mine and still in the sweeping business in the Bay Area, and since that point we had developed our parking lot sweeper it's called then Mr. Air Sweepers, now called Masco Sweepers. So we told us, we think you got a good idea here. Will this thing work? And he says, oh yeah. And his opinion about everything was perfect. You'll never find a better one. It was perfect. He said, we like your attitude. So we said, well, we're from California. We don't pull trailers on freeways. We need to be able to drive this on the road. So Leonard and I said, we're going to buy you a pug-nose Isuzu truck. They're really cool, make a great sweeper. And we're going to drive it out to Canada. So we did, forgot to ask him what the temperature was. It was 60 below zero. So we drove out there, what the hell do you live out here for? He said, well, it's cheap labor. Les was really an innovator, you were right. So we showed him the chassis and he said, yeah, I think I could put a sweeper on that. So he did, and we waited until it was done, drove it home. And I think in the next 3 years, we probably sold 200 of them. I know one of our big pavement maintenance shows in Florida, we took 11 sweepers there. We had guys in the show, we had guys in the parking lot, we had walkie-talkie radios. A guy would come up and say, hey, does this sweeper work? We says, meet Joe out in the parking lot, he'll give you a demo. So he'd go outside the convention hall and we'd have that sweeper running around and dumping out gravel and sweeping out. It was great. But the broom was kind of narrow on it, and it lasted for maybe 4 or 5 years, and it was outdone, and then he made the Sweep-Rite. So looking around the show today, in this manufacturing, we all make sweepers that you guys run and try to help you out, but there's only a few designs that I've noticed that have really passed the test of time. We feel Temco was the first to really develop the high dump in the back of the truck. We've always used a scissors type high dump, and Les made a broom sweeper that had the dump in the middle of the truck. And as I looked around in the show today, I see the Sweep-Rites, the Pythons, the Challengers, the Whitkeys, the Road Wizards, and now the Stuart Amoses. I look and I see Les's name on every one of them. And just like when I look at all the other air machines, I see Temco. So there's a few. This is a very small industry. It's a big industry, but it's really a small industry. It's really amazing. So I really hand it to Les. One of the things we liked about Les, we'd go to shows with him and we'd give a demonstration and a part would break, and we'd say, Les, these guys are rough on these equipment. You need to make this bigger. He said, no, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. And I said, well, how did you engineer this? It's going to break. He said, well, here's how you do it. You build it and you sell it. And when the guy breaks a part, tell him to give it back to you and make it bigger. Give it back to him. And then if you don't break it, you say, there you go, you just engineered it. And I said, well, that's not a bad way of engineering. So that's how we dealt with Les for many years, and I'd love to see him get this award, and I can't wait to tell him about it.
All right, thank you. So if, at this point then, if I could ask Scott Sinsky, who is here today from the sweeper manufacturer Superior Roads Solutions, and I'll ask you on, so Scott, here we have an award, but why don't you talk for just a minute about...
We got a membership meeting coming up right now. It's at 6:30, we have, or 5:30, we're
pushing it.
Yeah,
so I'm Scott Yasinski. I'm Vice President of Sales for Superior Roads, and it's too bad to know that you have to rush out because you can't imagine how difficult it is to resist plugging our inventory levels for your spring sweeping needs. But as you know, we come from Canada where we don't have to worry too much about insurance discussions because people are more likely to apologize for having the nerve of tripping on a pothole on your property. But Les and I have been friends for an awful long time, a lot of years now, and I know that if he were here, he would probably blush a little bit, but he would genuinely be very, very grateful for the recognition for all of his hard work, because he did truly pour his life into this business. Les spent his career in a green sweatshirt and a pair of brown parachute pants out in the R&D area of the plant with his fabricator working alongside him. So Les officially retired on November 30th in 14, and just so everybody knows, he's really doing it right. I think he's probably in Aruba or something like that right now, but after his retirement party at the plant, he immediately left to our Grey Cup in Vancouver and enjoyed that, and then he's been traveling the world since, so he's having a great time and enjoying all the benefits. But on behalf of Les, we appreciate the recognition.
Absolutely. Well, let's do our obligatory photo, and we'll take it from there. So here, what do we?
All right.
You can take a couple. There's no film in the camera.
Right out.
Yeah, right out.
Okay, while they're taking the photo, I want to thank everyone. Yes, let's give it a